Hi, I'm Linda from Living Linda Abroad, and today I am joined by Sandy, who lives in Brazil. Welcome to the
Hello,
show,
Sandy.
Sandy.
Thank you, Linda. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good.
And thank you for being with us today. And I wanted to know, how did you decide on Brazil and how long have you lived there?
Well, long story short, I was living in Hawaii at the time, and my wife had come there from vacation. And the key word there is wife, because when I met her there, we were trying to do this back and forth thing. And I said, we should just get married. And next thing you know, I'm living in Brazil for 6 years now.
Very cool, very cool. That's one way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So where in Brazil do you live and why did you decide on that location?
Well, I decided I didn't really have a choice because my wife is an attorney here and she grew up in this area. So I'm pretty much in what's called Bahia, Salvador area. So it's coastal, it's her hometown, it's by default, really.
Okay. And hopefully you enjoy living there, right?
More than I imagined, really. I mean, I never thought I would feel more at home than in the US here. So yeah, I love the culture, I love the language, I love the food, I love that they love to dance, I love they have more holidays than work days.
Okay. Can a foreigner buy property in Brazil?
Um, it's not easy, but yes, you can buy property here. It's kind of like anything else, any other investment. I mean, I know folks that are like buying whole hotels here, in partnerships with other folks. And it's just like any other country. If you have the money, you know, and know the right people, you can buy anything you want here. So is it easy? No. Is it available? Yes. Is it an option for anyone? Yes.
And what makes it not easy? Is it because the regulations are different? You have to have a Brazilian co-sign with you, or what exactly is different?
It's different only in the sense that they want to verify who you are, that money's legit. It's a good deal of money. It's more like an investment because if you're not a resident or if you don't have a citizenship, so it's more like kind of like how Dubai works. It's more like an investment property here. So like as an individual, yeah, you could, go in with some folks. Same way with Mexico. I was there for 3 months and I was looking at when I first started traveling and I was looking at properties there and it was like you can't own the land and you can't put the in your name, but you can partner with someone who's a resident or a citizen there and partnership with them.
So, what type of visas are available, and what type of visa did you go over there on? I know that you're married to a Brazilian. Did you just do family reunification, or did you actually have to apply for a visa as well?
Yeah, before I could get on the plane, I had to have a visa because when we got married, it was in Hawaii. And so we had a Hawaii marriage certificate. We had to come here first and do what's called an apostille. And that took about 3 months. So, yeah, I had to have just a regular tourist visa. We were
Mhm.
stuck a little bit because the apostille took so long. I was like, I don't want to have to leave the country. But we had to go, actually, I think it took like 4 months. We had to go to what's called the federal police, and that's the regular police here, to get my
Mhm.
time extended and explain what happened and why and all that stuff. So yeah, was here on a regular tourist visa. It was 3 months. In terms of what's available, and if I were anyone else right now, um, I would really try to get like a student visa because then you're inside of the 3 years or 5 years usually that you can apply for citizenship. So yeah, I would try and get like a student visa. You can
Mhm.
get like an expat visa. I believe I believe that's like 3 years or 2 years. I can forget exactly. But it's changing as well because Brazil's opening up more to the idea of expats here. So I think right now it's 3 years, and after that, I'm not sure if you have to leave the country and come back for how long. Uh, but and so yeah, that's the visas that I know of.
Okay, so what type of visa or you don't have a visa, you just became a resident
Yeah,
right away
yeah.
okay, and then does residency lead to citizenship? And if so, how long does that usually take?
It's usually 5 years. You can get your citizenship here. So if you're here for 5 years legally, because I was told that if you leave, like if you have a tourist visa, which is not long enough, or a student visa, and you have to leave for 2 years and come back, or leave for 4 years, or be there for 4 years and come back from it resets. So you start over again. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's a matter of figuring out how to be here legally for 5 years. And there, there are ways that if you buy into like a business here, I think it's like 20 grand. If you
Oh,
start a business here, you can stay, have like a residency here.
what about if you buy property, like a golden visa? Do you have something like that in Brazil?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll need to look that up, but I would
Okay.
imagine, I can't imagine because Brazil's a good place to buy properties. The dollars 5-to-1 ratio. And there's a lot of people that want to come here and be here and have money from the US. So
Mhm.
I can't imagine that they would make an exception to that because that's that's an easy thing to do. Just kind of let me just drop some money on a house here. And the housing market here is like I'm at my beach house, but when I came here, we have a condo. It's like 20 minutes from here. And
Mhm.
when we bought this, it was during COVID and it was like 300,000, which is, again, 5-to-1 is, basically 100,000 plus for this condo. I mean, for the beach house here. And
Uh-huh.
now there's still a slow market here in Brazil in terms of the housing. Um, but I like the neighbor is renovating next door. I don't know if you can hear the noise going on there, but
No, I can't.
it was a complete fixer-upper.
Mhm.
But I think if I had to guess, because I know that the neighbor on the right side wasn't a fixer-upper, and he sold about 2 years ago and got 700 for his. So I would say maybe 1 million for this fixer upper because we're beachfront, so yeah,
And is that a million Brazilian pesos or a million US dollars?
it's reals here, so
Oh,
it's again 5-to-1, so 250 US.
okay.
Yeah,
So would you say that you can buy something like 1, 2 bedrooms for between 150 and 300,000 in your area?
yeah, yeah,
US.
yeah. Like our condo is and even this was how many? This is 4 bedrooms. And also the maids are big here. I'm not sure how it is there, but there's also like maids quarters in every place. So it's
Mhm.
4 bedrooms is a maid quarter. Um, but the condo is also 3 bedrooms. And it was like 100 and that was she bought that way before me. Not way, but some time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, she got that for I think 150 real. So yeah, it's good. It's a good place to invest or even, buy something here, use as an Airbnb like everybody else does. But even that's kind of questionable these days, I think.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you happen to know what the rental market is? Can you get a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment for like less than 1,000 US dollars?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It depends on the area. I mean, there are definitely areas that you don't want to rent like that, something
Mhm.
that's that cheap. But if you like, there's a peninsula not too far from here or from my condo. So from the condo, we're 20 minutes from our condo, and then another 10 minutes on the other side of the bridge. It's a nice bridge. It's a nice area there, but it's out of the way. And there's some really, really nice condos there on that peninsula there. So yeah, for sure you can get something for less than 1,000. I'd say more like 500. You know.
Oh, wow. What is going into other costs? Like, what is the cost of living there compared to the US? It sounds like rentals are definitely much cheaper. What about the other things like electricity, water, gas, if you have that,
Yeah,
groceries?
Yeah. It's laughable. My son is in California. I mean, one of them was in California. Both of them are in Texas now. My eldest is in the solar energy business. So I was looking at putting some solar panels up here because I was like thinking about, electric car and stuff. He's like, "Well, what's your electric bill like?" And I showed him the bill, and he was like, "You basically pay like $20 for electricity there." And I shouldn't say we have the normal wear and tear here in terms of electric and stuff like that, and electronics and stuff. But yeah, we're we're not paying a whole lot for anything here, even food. And I'm afraid for people in the U.S. because food here is organic, firstly, but very cheap. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
we go to the store um, once a month, really, you know. And then we'll go to like the market because we go through like fruits and vegetables very quickly because it's all very
Mhm.
organic and very cheap. In fact, it's not even it's funny because the where I'm at is very kind of like almost like farmish country here. So
Mhm.
I can stop by, on the way home and pick up, little stands, that pick up some fruit and vegetables, even eggs. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And what is like cell phone and internet cost you on a monthly basis? Do you know off the top of your head?
Everything here is cheap. Let me see. The cell phone bills, I don't think we pay more than $50 US for like 20 gig, you know, and that's per phone. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And the Wi-Fi is probably about 50. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean
All,
it
all
makes,
very affordable. That's excellent.
yeah.
And what about of eating out? I know in the US, when I went back 2 years ago, just to go out for a simple lunch was like $45.
Mm.
Here in Portugal, it's much less. I can usually it's between 10 and 20 euros. So depending on the exchange rate, it's still like 10 or $20. What about in Brazil? What is the average, would you say?
I don't think we spend more than 150 reals here for food, for eating out, and that includes drinks. So
Okay.
up to 200. That's, that's
Okay. So that's 30 to $40 for the two of you.
yeah, yeah. And we're
So,
talking good portions too, because Brazilians like to, a lot of the food they like to eat is very filling. Um,
mhm.
but yeah, you know, they like to really fill up on food here, especially meat. This is the meat capital of the world. So, we try and eat more chicken and fish, you know, just for health reasons. We keep saying we really should be vegan. We really should be, eating less meat. And I say, yeah, but it's so hard here because they do meat well.
I've heard that both in Brazil and in Argentina. I heard that they're both very good meat
Yeah,
produce,
yeah,
produce, I guess.
yeah.
And what about healthcare? How is that there? And do you feel like you're getting a better service than you did in the US? And how much do you pay per month for your insurance premium?
Um, yeah, I feel like if I were a millionaire, that's what kind of service I would be getting here. If you're a millionaire, you get the top notch, services, and not you know, the care that you have these write-offs and read the fine print, make sure that that you fit that, and then you have to share a room and all that stuff. We don't have that here, and I don't think I spend more than like I think mine is like 500 because I just turned 61 and hers is like 200. Yeah.
And is that reals or is that in
No,
dollars?
dollars.
Oh, in dollars. Okay. But you say that it covers you for pretty much everything that you would need,
Yeah.
prescriptions,
Yeah. Well,
hospital.
no, we pay for our drugs, but I don't pay for co-pays going if I want to go to the doctor for any reason. There's no out-of-pocket expense, to be seen for any reason. You just have to make sure the coverage you have, they have to kind of pre-arrange it, the one we have. They say, come in, let me see how, or and then they'll send you to a specialist if need be, but there's no out-of-pocket expense for that. So, but no, if I need medications, we have like a 25% discount with our plan. So, but we don't. I mean, I honestly don't like to do a lot of medication, so it's preventive. I mean, that's why we do, on a regular basis, we stop and get fruits and vegetables just driving home for, on a regular basis. So, like even in the morning, I have like oatmeal and 3 bananas inside of it. We really try and stay healthy here, and it's easy because again, the food is a lot here, and it's cheap here, and it's organic.
So you're getting a lot of vitamins from just your food, right?
Yeah.
Uh, if you do have to have prescriptions, do you find them to be affordable? I know I just had an ear infection, and I find that the drugs here are actually pretty reasonable. I think I had to spray antibiotic, and I think it was like less than €5. How about in Brazil?
Let me put it this way: when we have to get medications, it's not just one. Sometimes it's like 2 or 3. But doing the math, I don't think we spend more than like $10 for, $10 is
Right.
nothing, and they have, I mean, unfortunately, I feel like they over medicate here in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
My wife said that, or the doctor, when we went to the doctor, I don't remember exactly what we went for, something I had going on with me, but I kind of think I was having something going on when I just got back from Peru. We went to the doctor, and the doctor was saying that, oh, a lot of people come in because they want to take time off from work.
Oh, and they need a doctor's note.
Yeah,
Well, that's not so good, right?
no, but it's very common here. I mean, it's really that easy to just go into the doctor and say, I don't feel good. And the doctor will be like, okay, I'll give you a week.
That's one way to do it. Wish that was like that when I was working, right? So speaking of working, are you currently working or are you retired?
I guess I can say I'm semi-retired. I mean, technically, I was just told by a friend's mother that I can apply for Social Security next year because I'll be 62. But I do cryptocurrency and all
Mhm.
that stuff, and even some um, like NAS and S&P and all those little stocks and things like that, but mostly crypto, mostly even Bitcoin. I try and master one area because if it's like anything, I mean, there's different levels of sport. Yeah, like let's take football for instance. I mean, there's this house league football. When I played, I was started at 8 years old, and then went to high school and played through high school, and you know but I didn't play college because I got hurt. But and then there's the pro. So each, it's kind of like crypto is the same way. I mean, if you get into like meme coins, that's, you have to understand how that game works. If you get into what's called altcoins, you have to understand how that game works. If you get into Bitcoin or stocks, they're all different kind of games. So it's been a progressive, how do I learn these things? But I started with Bitcoin, and that's my staple.
So how does taxes work in Brazil on the monies that you make in your investments?
The way it works for me is I don't move my money into the bank, so I'm not taxed, even though they have, and some of the exchanges I use called no KYC, know your customer. We have to share, and then I do share my stuff, but I don't move money into the banks, so I'm not necessarily being taxed, even in the U.S. Yeah, I don't move crypto out of its my wallet or exchanges. So I'm not necessarily being taxed just
So
yet.
you're not taxed in Brazil. Are you taxed in the US on crypto?
Well, I'm looking into what's called non-resident tax in the US, so I don't have that. Um,
Okay.
Currently, I'm not being taxed either place. My wife claims me as a dependent here.
Do you happen to know what the tax rates are in Brazil, and how do they compare to that of the US?
It's like 25% here, and I know it's 30% there if you write everything off, then it's zero. But here they don't have that. So that's why we've kind of worked around that scenario because my wife is paying 40 because she pays into her retirement.
She's a lawyer too, so I'm sure that she knows all of the ins and outs of all the tax ways to save and everything like that too, right?
Not really. She has an accountant that she works with who's
Oh, okay.
yeah, because her income is like top 1% here. So she has to really understand. And then, there's, real estate that her family owns. So it's complicated. And we decided it would be better if I didn't complicate things by including my income and status into it.
How do you spend your time being semi-retired? I know you have a wife, but when she's working, what do you do? How long do you do the crypto trading? I'm sure with the time differences, it's probably different, but what keeps you busy?
Bitcoin, really. I really spend a lot of time, and then, they say love what you do, and I'm up. My alarm goes off at 6:30, and that gives me time to kind of just wake up. And I don't touch my phone, and I just kind of just do my morning thing and just wake up with the birds, and just relax for a minute. Then by 7:30, I'm watching YouTube and looking at the charts. And usually I'm in bed by like 10. So it's a full day for me. I mean, I may take it's important to take your exercise and little breaks, and eat stuff like that. But yeah, I'm pretty much wrapped into my charts, into YouTube, was Twitter or X, but we've been banned,
Oh,
that right
mhm.
now. So, but yeah, I spend a lot of time just kind of figuring out what's the strategy for the day because it really does. You really have to understand what's happening. We have these what we call black swans. Um, COVID was a black swan, an unexpected event.
Mhm.
Japan raising their rates was a black swan. So you have to kind of be prepared for those things, or you can get wiped out very quickly.
And so the language, let's talk about the language now. In Portugal, we speak European Portuguese, which I understand is a little bit different than Brazilian Portuguese. But how are you doing with your language skills, and how did you go about learning?
I got here in 2019, but we got married in 2018 in Hawaii and spent, about a month there before we came here. The next year, COVID hit. And even before then, it was starting to kind of get, slowing down things. So I wasn't able to really get out and talk. And my wife, she and I don't really talk Portuguese together so much because it's just easier to speak English with her. I am just now getting acclimated to the language after being here 6 years because, I'm able to get out more. I got my driver's license, which took me a year. Meeting more people, more things. I was doing CrossFit for a while, and that's exactly when COVID hit. We were doing CrossFit at home. Now I'm more into like the biggest TV show here is called BBB, which is Big Brother Brazil, and we have it in the US, but it's freaking insanely popular here. So I've learned so much with just that program this year. It starts every January for about 3 or 4 months, and between just watching the show and getting on social media, that really accelerated my Portuguese. I'm functional. I mean, I was able to get my driver's license and I get out and order food and get gas and like I was at the mall Friday. I go to the mall because of the brand new KFC there, and it's like sitting down, and my wife was doing something with her mother and on her way, and this lady sat down next to me to talk to me about some things, and I was I'm fairly conversational already, but to the extent that I can write a book, an intellectual, it's 10 conversation, forget about it.
Yeah, I heard that it takes about 5 to 10 years to actually become more conversational. I think I'm probably on the kindergarten level, and I'm quite proud of that. In the remaining minutes that we have left, can you do you have any advice or tips for somebody who might be interested in moving to Brazil?
I would definitely have a basics for the language. If you have a language, this is what I love too. I didn't explain this, but I when I was living in Hawaii, I was learning Japanese, and there are a lot. I mean, in Sao Paulo, there's a lot of, I mean, a huge population of Japanese people, and there are large population of people who want to go to Japan, and they get on YouTube and try, explain in Portuguese, what's happening in Japan, and they teach you Japanese as well. So I was like, wow, this is a cool way to actually kind of increase what you have and learn something else. So that's like a new little trick that I found. But the other thing is, I think a lot of people get kind of in the place where they're like, I'm just going to go and see how it is and spend 3 months and don't have an exit strategy, if you will, or even how to get back. And I always say to people that traveling, being an expat is more like playing chess. Masters are thinking like 20 moves ahead, but, pretty good, 1,000 level players are like at least three moves ahead. And that's what I would suggest people do with traveling, and trying to be an expat or just being out of the country or whatever. Think, like that's basically 9 months of planning that you have. So you're not, staying in one place and it's trying to we got a week before you have to get out and you're like, what am I going to do? So budget for that stuff, know what you're going to do, meet some people, on Twitter, especially, or X as it's called. And there's, some pretty good Facebook groups that you can get into as well. When I was in the UK, there was, especially like the area I was at, there was a nice little meetup, Americans meetup, on Facebook. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, it's always good to know a few people virtually before you actually move there. That way they can show you the ropes. And I actually had that happen to me as well. I want to thank you for coming on today and explaining everything about your how you made the process of moving to Brazil. Yep, I see your shirt. That's very cool. And it sounds like you have a wonderful life there.
Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of your new chapter.
Thank you.